This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS The Voice of Stockton or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Okay, hello. Welcome on a Saturday afternoon, The Voice of Stockton, the visual show. I would like to thank for watching. I have a guest, a really amazing guest. We did talking about a lot of subject. I would like to thank Dee Johnson for coming and talk about what she stands for and what she's running for and what did it take to improve SUSD. Thanks for coming, Dee. Can I call you Dee or Mr. Johnston?
You can call me Dee, anything you want.
Okay, great. So, Miss Johnston, I would like to, before I go to her, I want to talk about a very important something that makes sense. It's a good point, and it's a comment from Facebook about what is a good candidate for SUSD. And I think a lot of people probably may agree with that. Okay, it's a comment from which I printed out, but it doesn't have a name. I forgot about it. But anyway, it made a point. It made a use different in a point. Okay, it said, I would rather have a candidate that is far more qualified and experienced for someone with knowledge of SUSD experience in Stockton Unified School District and perspective from having worked in SUSD for many years. Okay. Also, someone who isn't looking forward and using SUSD as a career launching pad into politics, using their stepping stone, starting from the school board and running for political office. No, that is a hidden agenda, because I do believe in that particular phrases. The thing is that they're separated. The teachers union and the California School Employee Association are, what really matter. Who gets it, and the one who is like a Democrat, or Republican, a nonpartisan. It's irrelevant. So that's the two distinct scenario. Now, I have seen pretty clear who should be SUSD trustee. And it said, vote for Dee Johnson. I would rather prefer a candidate that far more qualified and experienced than someone with knowledge of SUSD, experience in SUSD, and perspective from having worked in SUSD, which means Stockton Unified School District, for many years. Also, someone who isn't looking forward to use SUSD as a career launching pad into politics. So, in that, though, it seems pretty clear who should be SUSD trustee. So, I'm going to leave it to some of you to think about. I want you to think about. I'm going to ask Dee for her opinion about what has been said. Did it make a good point about that? Did her campaign or her income her opponent are the same, or they're different? They have experience? Are they qualified? What? So at that note, we're going to talk about it later, but I want to talk about her experience. So welcome, Dee Dee. Welcome. Just tell me who you are and what people want to know about you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I'd like to address how I got into education first.
Okay.
I used to work for Macy's in loss prevention in my early 20s. And I keep going back to the children. It's the children that actually motivated me to get into education in the first place. As I was working in loss prevention and watching young children act as lookouts for their parents or parent or whoever they were with, most likely their parents at the time, they were actually looking for the lady talking to her purse, because the lady talking to her purse had a walkie-talkie and was probably somebody to warn their parents about. I would arrest them when caught, not the children, of course. I watched children actually be used to steal because you can't arrest children. But one day I had to arrest a lady who had a couple of children with her, and she was in my office going through withdrawals because she needed to steal the items in order to get her fix. She was arrested. The children watched her go through the withdrawals, and this kind of breaks my heart, and that's why my voice kind of cracks a little bit. The children were taken away, and at that point in time, I knew I needed to be on the other side of the coin here. I needed to be on the side of the coin where I could help the children and the families, because these children are in the schools, and they are not bad children. They are raised in terrible circumstances. And that understanding was brought with me into the classroom when I started going back to school, working as a teacher's assistant, and going towards that goal of working with children. So my first example of feeling super excited was when I worked with I'm going to call him little Timmy. His name is Timmy, but I don't have to worry about it because it was so many years ago that I'm sure Timmy is married and has kids of his own, and he's doing very, very well, and would have no idea that I'm talking about him, and it's all in a positive tone anyway. He was 2 grades below and struggling with reading, and I was given the chance to help this little guy. Within 1 semester, he went from 2 grade levels below to 2 grade levels above. And that was another turning point. That was where I said, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm doing the right thing. And I got even more excited about education. So I completed my teaching credential. And my first assignment with Stockton Unified School District was in a special day class at Elmwood School. That was another wonderful, motivating experience for me. I learned how to work with special ed kids. I learned about everything, the paperwork that went along with it, the testing that went along with it, the things that these children need and what they go through, and all of the different types of strategies and methods that are needed to reach and teach these children. When I was offered and actually told that I should probably get my special ed credential because I was teaching this class, and I was complimented that I had a skill with these children, and why don't I consider getting my special education credential. And I said, you know, the special ed teachers work very, very hard. Give me the toughest 6th grade class you have in the district and let me go for it. That actually happened. I was placed in a tough 6th grade class for my first assignment. And again, I fell in love with every single one of those children and watched them excel. Some of the kids in that class I'm still in touch with, and if some of them are listening to this radio station, they know who they are. They have asked to support me in my campaign. They have gotten a hold of me through Facebook and have asked if I have any t-shirts and such to wear. They are very successful. I protect people. I don't mention names, but it is exciting to be able to remember back to all of my kids and to stay in touch, thank goodness, to Facebook that has allowed that to happen. From teaching, I taught 7 years, 6th grade, and then I became an assistant principal, and I was an assistant principal at a couple of different schools in Stockton Unified, Adams, Pulliam, and Adams School and Pulliam School.
Elementary school?
4.5 years. Elementary.
Oh, elementary school, okay.
Yeah, 4.5 years at Pulliam, 1 year at Adams. And I was acting assistant principal 1 year at Madison. So I just kind of went backwards there. The first one was Madison, the second one was Adams, and then the third one was Pulliam for 4.5 years. And it was a multi-track year-round school at the time. From that point, I became principal at Taft. And I was there for 14 years. At Taft Montessori. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Taft. Okay, sorry.
And I was there for 14 years before I retired, yes. So that's, in a nutshell, every step of the way, I always looked at it as how can I reach and teach more kids? How can I help more students to be successful? And in becoming an assistant principal, being the assistant to the principal, of course, now you're learning how to reach more students across a school. When you become the principal, you definitely can have an impact not only on the students, but helping the teachers to be able to reach and teach more students. So my focus has always been on the students in Stockton Unified School District and how to improve their education and help them to succeed at their very highest potential. Because in my belief, I believe every child is gifted. I believe every single child is gifted. We just might not know what their gifts are at the time. And some we have to search a little bit harder to get and find out about. But I believe every child is gifted. It's up to us, it's our charge to find out what those gifts are.
Wow, that's a very oh my God, even my arm is kind of goosebump. Well, that's really encouraging that your love for your student is, you're more like a mom to them because you're there watching them almost literally all day, and yet they go home at nighttime to go back to their regular family, and it's a different world environment when they go to school.
Well, it's really fun when your students call you mom.
Really fun, really call you mom.
Especially the cool dudes, you know, when they are in the 6th grade and they're getting ready to go to 7th grade, and they raise their hand, or they come up to you and they say, "Hey, mom," and they oops, and then the other boys might go, "Ah, gotcha," but then somebody else does it too.
Yeah.
And so it's nice when that happens, and you know that they love you, and you love them back. So just recently, I just wanted to share this. This actually happened last week, so it's really kind of exciting.
Okay, go ahead.
I went to, I don't know that I want to say the restaurant. They'll find out who it is, but that's okay. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and do this because he's an adult. So we went to Applebee's, and this nice-looking young man opened up the door for my mom and my husband and I, and he smiled real big and welcomed us to Applebee's. And we get inside the door, and he goes, "Hey, were you a teacher?" And I looked at him, he looked real familiar, and I said, "Yes, I was a 6th grade teacher at Madison School, and you were one of my students, and you were in room 10. You had just moved from Mexico, and you didn't speak any English, and I made red folders for you. Every single day I made a special educational plan for you to learn English." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, you remember all of that about me?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, he said, I said, "The only thing that I'm struggling with right now, you're going to have to tell me again your name because you have matured. You've got to be between 35 and 37 years old, same age as close to my son." And he said, "Victor." And I said, "Oh my goodness." And I said, one of the waitresses came up and said to me, "Do you have anything that you can tell me about him? Because we want to tease him." And I said, "The only thing I can tell you about him is that he was one of the most eager learners that I had. He wanted to learn every single day." And he blushed, and then she said, "Well, he's the best manager that I've ever worked for. He's the manager of Applebee's." And to see the success stories, to run into people that have been successful and they remember you. And then the icing on the cake was I'm getting ready to leave, and we get our bill, and the waitress came up and said, "I want you to know that he bought your lunch, Mrs. Johnson."
Wow! So you do make an impact on your student. It show how a teacher that really imprint a student that teaches in sixth grade, because they're teenagers, they're rebellious sometimes, and like you said, it's difficult. They're going through puberty, they're getting a tough time, they're going through identity crisis, all those things that mix emotion, and yet you leave a legacy on their mindset of education, and you did it. That's amazing. I mean,
that made my whole day, night, week. I went home and thought about that, and because he said thank you so much, and that's what warms your heart. And sometimes you have to wait years to hear it and get that feedback, but it's worth everything. And just recently, I had an ex-student contact me who I helped go through the resource program, get tested for resource, and then go through the resource program, knowing that he definitely was gifted in so many ways. He just recently got in touch with me through Facebook. He has graduated from UOP with a bachelor's. He's graduated with his master's recently, and he asked if I would please come and be a reader in his special program. And that was another thing. He was in the next class that I had. I remember just about every student in all of the classes. I run into them at different times. But being asked to be a reader in the program coming up next week was a huge honor.
Oh, that is an honor. I'm really, you see, I like it showed that you dedicated your work as a teacher, and you don't forget. Like now let's go back. Okay, now let's okay. We go from here. We got time. So tell me what I read. What do you think? What that particular person said. What do you think about that? Well,
I'm honored. Number one, I'm very, very honored with that. Like I've been retired for 2 years, and so there's not that many people that I have been in touch with, because I have 5 grandchildren now. One's 8, 2 or 4, one is 2, and one is 5 months. And my daughter has 3, my son has 2. My first solid year, that's really all I retired. That's really all I did was focus on the grandkids. And so then the second year that I was retired, I've been retired for 2 years, I started to kind of think about other things, because the oldest grandchild is, at the time last year, was in the 2nd grade, and so that's, I take her to school, I pick her up, and so I'm starting to see and get involved in helping her with her homework, and it made me think, I still feel like I need to be a part of education in a different way, and see if I can impact education as such, where I can make more across the board. So back to the reason, your question about this, this is somebody who worked for me and with me. And so it was an honor. It was a surprise. I felt very good, because what that tells me is that it's just not only the students that I'm having a positive impact on, it's also teachers, assistant principals, people that worked with me and for me that have a positive regard, and that I was able to build relationships with, positive relationships, to encourage them to be the best that they could be, knowing that if you do that also, they will be inspired to do the same for anybody that works for them and the students that they are in charge of also, that they come into contact with. And so following, what it did was warm my heart again, knowing that it's not just the students, but it's the adults that I've worked with, the teachers and administrators and staff. And most of all, when you think about that, it's not just teachers and administrators, it's the secretaries, it's the kitchen, it's the assistants. I started out as an instructional assist. I had some experiences that I carried forward that I would never, ever, ever allow to happen at my school. and it's just subtle things like you need to let me use the copy machine right now, the ditto machine right now, because you're an aide and I'm a teacher, and you need to step aside. Or you cannot go into this room because that's the teacher's lounge, but I will go get you a soda because that lounge is for the teachers. And although there's not as much of that at the schools these days, it's called a staff lounge. Back when I first started as an instructional assist, there were some practices like that.
You mean they're like segregating, separate from teacher and
at the time there was some of that subtle. It was very subtle. It wasn't it wasn't like something that was a rule, a sign on a door or anything like that. It was just a subtlety. I think that disappeared a while back. I don't think that happens anymore. Let's hope it doesn't happen anymore. But
not either.
But I brought that with me to make sure that everybody on staff was treated equally. Everybody on staff, because without your staff, everybody is a contributor. Transportation, the bus drivers, the kitchen, all of the people at the school site run the school basically for the children. We're all there for the children. The children look at all of the adults as their teachers. They have their classroom teacher, they have the people in the kitchen help them with the cafeteria, their bus driver gets them safely back and forth to school. Everybody is important. The noon duty supervisors are important. Okay. So I worked hard to ensure that there was some good rapport and relationship building with the students and amongst the teachers and amongst the different unions, the CSEA, STA, USA. I wanted to make sure that everybody got along because it's the children are what's the most important at the school site, as far as the whole reason we're all there. Without the students, there would be no need for anybody else at the site.
Right. So tell me, are you since you've been running as a candidate, have you gone to the forum? Have you been endorsed by any organization yourself?
I was endorsed by CSCA 318.
Okay, okay. And, okay, so you have been going through the meeting, going to this and everything. So it's already been completed, but, well, that's good. That's a good honor. That's awesome. That's put your step on the door and everything. That's really amazing. Yes. So let me ask you this question. We're almost at the end of our time, but what would you do as a board member? I know that's a common question every day. You know, what would you do? What would you do different? Now people already know that you're qualified as an experienced teacher. You're qualified by being a principal. But for those who are running against you that have no experience running the school board, what would you tell those people? Look at their record. That's what you're doing. I think that's what you. What would you?
First of all, I'd like to share that I got my master's degree in educational administration with an emphasis in effective communication. That's huge for me. And as you look at our Stockton Unified School District board's history, I should say, and how many superintendents we have gone through over the last decade, and actually a couple of decades, and what's behind all of that, there is no one single factor. It's not just the Board of Trustees. However, communication or lack of good communication has been a huge factor on our Board of Trustees. You're always going to have some dissension and disagreement because that's important as far as making good decisions. But you need to be able to effectively communicate, and you need to work as a team and in harmony in order to make positive change. If there's too much dissension and too much infighting and too many other ulterior motives behind why they're board trustees, which happens a lot. There's a lot of times people become trustees for other reasons other than just improving education in the district, whether it be political, whether it be have to do with money, no matter what it is. A lot of times they get into it for the wrong reasons, and it comes out as far as the decisions that are made. People can see that, and so I have no political aspirations to go further in a political career. My only reason for doing this is to help the students in Stockton Unified, and that's it. To make sure that the students get what they need to achieve to their highest potential. I don't have any other motives.
Okay, well, that's awesome. I wish I get my what's my bar plus. There you go. Well, we're almost at the end of the time for my show. We already talked for at least an hour. That's
Did we?
Good, yeah.
And I'm not even sure I answered your last question.
Well, what's your last?
I wasn't
Okay,
sure
I'm
that I
sorry.
got to
Go
that
ahead.
or not.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if I did. Did
Yeah,
I?
well, I think that you did kind of did it. You did. I think you did. I think that's something that I look at the way I look at this.
You guys actually have a bit more time. You guys started at around 3 o'clock, and it's only 3:30.
I did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We still have more time. So we got 15 more minutes, right?
Yeah, you got 30 more minutes.
Okay.
We'll have to wrap up at around 3:50, so actually 20 minutes.
All right. Oh, thank you. I assumed that I thought we talked longer than we
okay.
expected. Okay. Now, the way I look at that, this is my personal experience. Just looking from the glass window, looking at how political running from one for the school board, and the other one for the city or the county, whatever. But we're talking about. I'm just gonna be kind of more simple, as far as the school board, and as far as the city. Now, I understand that the cannabis, the city is not in the business of education, but yet they trying to promote scholarship through the city, through them to the school board. Now, it's too much linking between too much little things that come in a track, those type of scenario when I look at, and I'm like, wait a minute, that don't look right. And you have to keep it separate. The teachers always keep telling me that this is their campaign. This is their territory. You have to be a teacher. You have to be the educator. You have to be something that you are relating to the Stockton University District. You have some education experience, as well as far as the the California School Employee Association as well. Whether you're a janitor or you're a teacher's aide, you're a bus driver, they are important too. Mm-hmm. I don't care. They are important. They're the one to run the school, everyday school, to make sure the student comes safely to school, and then when they get to the class, then they're responsible for the teacher. Now, okay, so in that indicates that really concerns me is that we have non-political person that's running for the school board, and they know that as a Stockton District is that they don't have no experience. And what makes them qualify for them to run for the school board? They need to know about the LCAP. They need to know the formula of the my mouth is fluttering. The formulated something like that for the disadvantaged, the foster youth, and all that stuff. I'm sure you know that formula. Mm-hmm. So you're very familiar with those things. Now, that's something that for the board member have to have some kind of knowledge about that, and I do agree with that. And to have somebody outside endorsement, outside the teachers union and outside the California school education, they're not qualified for those type of reasons, basically because they just want to be on the board.
So yes, Doug, fiscal accountability is huge. State and federal compliance is huge. And the transparency is huge because the public has the right to know. As far as speaking about opportunities for the kids and making sure that our budget is focused on what's right for the kids, you do have to have a lot of knowledge about the budget. You need to know how it works with the state. You need to know how it works with the federal government. And you need to know how the school districts receive their funding and how those pieces of pie are cut out. When I was a principal, you know, sometimes people don't realize just how much they don't know until they get into administration, until they get into, and even as an assistant principal moving into the principalship, when you move into the principalship, you suddenly realize that there's still huge pieces that you may not understand and may not know about. I went out of my way to go to a 2-day in Fairfield workshop just to fill in all of those blanks, fill in all of the holes, which was put on by a partnership between Total School Solutions and the Association of California School Administrators, otherwise known as ACSA. And through that partnership, that solid 2 days of 8 hours each day, it filled in all of the holes for me. It filled in the blanks. I came back with all of those pieces coming together and understanding how it fits and what you can actually do about what, and how the district budget works, how the state budget works, and how the federal government comes into play as far as the monies that are sent for the students. There's all of the different titles that need to be utilized in different ways for different students, such as what you just brought up. How does the district deal with that? And there's a certain amount of choices that the district has in how much authority they give to the individual school sites to be able to utilize their funds, or will the district be making the decision? The board has to approve expenditures, so they have the oversight to make sure that the superintendent and those below the superintendent are spending money fiscally responsible with the accountability piece, which, you know, I don't really like to talk about this too much, but that's what gets districts audited when there's compliance issues. And
but the thing, hold on, you just made a valid point. When a new board come and have no recollection of what the process, it might get audited. They don't know. They might be voted something. They don't have no knowledge. They, I'm going to give it this, or I'm going to vote for this, and yet there's a red flag. But some people who don't know that will raise that flag.
It's important to know as a board trustee what questions to ask. And because it's okay to not have knowledge of everything, but you need to know what questions to ask in order to get the answers that you need to place the vote, the correct vote. And
okay.
You know, the reason I say it's okay to not have all of the knowledge is because I don't believe that everybody has all of the knowledge.
Right,
Not
I totally
everybody
agree
has
with
an
that.
education background.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, you want to have a variety of folks on the board, but they do need to know what types of questions to ask before decisions are made. And they always need to keep the students first and foremost.
Okay, now, the last single question before the last, and I don't think I asked you yet. What would you do to change? Why would people want to vote for you?
Well, first of all, I will work for, my slogan, I will work for you. I will work for the students, I will work for the constituents of Stockton Unified School District and the community folks that are in partnership with Stockton Unified School District. As a team, together, we can make it happen for the kids. Having the experience, I believe in my heart, and I do have heart and passion for Stockton Unified School District and all of its constituents, I believe in my heart that I can bring all of that knowledge and experience to the board and help to make those decisions in an effective manner and an expedient manner. So, because sometimes when you drag your feet, things don't happen fast enough for the children of the district currently to be able to experience what they need to experience and get what they need to get. So I truly believe that I can bring my heart and passion, my knowledge, my experience, and my wisdom to Stockton Unified. I'm authentic, I have integrity, I have no ulterior motives other than to benefit Stockton Unified School District.
Great, thank you so much. At this last segment, I'm gonna end this show. Thank you so much for everyone. I wish you the best of luck. You know, for your success, and I hope you win better in your district. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching the Voice of Stockton and the visual show, and also just letting you know if there any candidate who wish to come to my show and talk about your campaign, you are welcome to come. Okay, I have a lot of people calling me, wanting to be part of this show, so please, you're more than welcome to come. So everything is partial, very professionally and everything. Thank you for watching the Victor Show. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Are we ready?